Hope everyone's having a great Sunday today. I'm full because I had a lot of fair food. Well, not at the fair, but just full.
Some at the fair, then you had some that you took home from the fair.
I had some great strawberry lemonade. It's amazing. Greatest thing I've ever had in my life.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
besides looking at your beard.
Yeah, the lemonade there was good, but not that good.
I was talking about your beard or the lemonade?
The lemonade.
Oh, okay.
The lemonade there was good, but it wasn't that good.
Oh, alright. I was like,
So yeah, I spent the day at the fair, and it wasn't anything too terribly exciting.
We went to the mini Vegas Strip today. Mini Las Vegas.
Yeah, not even close. Not even close.
Trying to give the fair some love here.
Yeah,
No?
like I said, it's expensive.
Yeah.
Got one positive thing out of it. My Anthony Rizzo World Series bobblehead. So, it wasn't a complete bust at the fair.
Yeah.
This and had some fair food, which I'm good now for a few years of having that again.
I will be good until it's here again because I have a box or a bag of mini donuts at home still untouched. Probably eat it later on tonight at Home Depot.
Go to Home Depot tonight?
No, probably not.
No. Not even eat the donuts at Home Depot if you're not going to Home Depot.
I could play the commercial at my house while eating it, so I'm at Home Depot. Huh? Huh?
Yeah.
Huh?
Oh. Yeah, that's a tangent that we go on, so.
Yeah, why not?
What the heck? It happens.
So, baseball. Any big names going anywhere yet in the trade deadline? Any potential big signings?
Well, the Cubs, right before they came back after the All-Star break, traded for Jose Quintana. They traded their top prospect for him, along with a couple other prospects, but, so really the top-rated prospects they all had basically are all gone. They've traded everyone away, but they have a lot of them got brought up, so now they're in the majors, so a lot of young talent, and they needed desperately a starting pitcher because their starting pitching has been awful this year. And that's exactly what they got with Quintana. So he made his Cubs debut already, did a fantastic job in his opener, and is actually pitching tonight against the Cardinals. So hopefully he does well again. But yeah, they needed starting pitching. They got it. And like I said, they had to give up their top prospect for it. But I say, if you have a chance to win again this year, and he's controllable for the next several years. And so that was going to be a hole that they're going to fill with Jake Arrieta becoming a free agent. He's going to be wanting a lot of money. And then John Lackey's getting old. He's coming to the end of his contract. No one's really expecting them to re-sign him. So yeah, that was going to be a hole that they're going to have filled. A few other names that are kind of out there. You got Yu Darvish from the Texas Rangers that the Cubs have been linked to, but right now it seems like the Dodgers are kind of the front runner to get him. Zach Britton, reliever for the Orioles, the Cubs have been linked to him. So you have there's lots of talk going around right now. You have Sonny Gray from the A's, still kind of floating out there. So yeah, the Cubs are still kind of linked to some starting pitching, possibly looking for an additional catcher. So all they have, basically is Wilson Contreras, and the team needs to get a break every now and then. So, yeah, there's a lot of names floating out there. We'll see, where they land. The Cubs, since the All-Star break, have played a lot better.
I told you though. I told you they just need to get to the All-Star break.
Yeah, they needed that break to clear their heads because, they were kind of on a downhill spiral there towards going into the All-Star break. But yeah, the Brewers who were ahead of them, they've sputtered outside of coming out of the All-Star break, and the Cubs did well, so they've closed the gap there, and just about back into first place. So if they can keep that going, because the main thing is, like with every team, you want to get into the playoffs, because once you get into the playoffs, anything can happen.
That's right.
But yeah, so you got some teams that are looking at buying. You obviously have the Cubs, Dodgers, Brewers, Yankees, Red Sox, all these teams are looking to add. The Twins, are looking to add because they're right in the mix there.
The Twins? Are
Yeah.
they doing?
Well, I mean, 2 years ago, they had a lot of young talent. They performed really well. Got really close to that second wild card, but just missed it. Then last year, I don't know what happened, but they were just terrible. With close to the same talent as the year before, but they did lose Torrey Hunter, who was a great leader in the clubhouse. They lost him, and they lost over 100 games last year. And then
Yeah, that was bad.
This year, I mean, they're right in the thick of things. I mean, they're chasing down the division, so they're looking at seeing what they can add at the deadline, and then you have some teams that are kind of on the bubble, and it's like, should we trade? Should we not? Should we keep things intact? Because like the Tampa Bay Rays, they're in the mix, but they're always seem to be looking people to trade because they can never keep anybody, and they have two starting pitchers. One particularly Chris Archer, who has a couple years left on his contract, but everyone knows that once he comes into the contract, he's not re-signing because the Tampa Bay Rays don't sign anybody because they don't have the money to do so.
Why do they not have the money? Are they just broke?
Their stadium is in a terrible location, so they can't get the fans to the games. And they
Okay.
very rarely put a winning team out on the field, and when they do, just because of that stadium, they can't draw people in. They can't get Tampa to give them a new stadium, which is why when people talk about adding a team in like Montreal again or Las Vegas, things like that, Tampa Bay always seems to come up because nobody supports them there, so might as well move them to an area where they will be supported. So.
But then you have the city moaning and groaning because they don't have a team anymore.
Well, yeah, we'll support your team while you're there, get them the stadium that they need, and there you go.
Okay, that's...
That would do it. So it's kind of like the same thing with the Marlins. They did just get a new stadium, but their fans never show up to those games. Now, granted, their owner is terrible. It's like I can say, it's like worst owner in the majors. Everyone thinks he's in the process of selling the team, which is fantastic for that team. They need to get rid of him as the owner. He's terrible. So we'll see how long it takes him to get sold and see what, when the new owner comes in, what kind of changes they can make to see if they can kind of get a consistent, thing going there. And that's another, team that's kind of dangling some pieces out there. You got Giancarlo Stanton, who is openly on the trade market. The only thing with him, he has a giant contract that someone would have to take on should they would trade for him. Like, $200 some odd million that they're going to have to take on. And really, to me, he wasn't worth that contract. Yeah, he can hit some long home runs, but he strikes out a lot, and unless it's a home run, he's probably not getting a hit. Low average, high home runs, and a huge contract. So,
Just snickering to myself because it kind of brings up in my head the David Carr contract.
yeah. So yeah, he wasn't worth it. Then also they have Christian Yelich, who is vastly, significantly more underpaid than Stanton, and he is more worth it. He only has, I want to say it's somewhere in the neighborhood of like $40 million over the next few years. We're compared to over $200 million. Yeah,
good.
A lot better, a lot better deal. And he doesn't have the power, but he gets on base, way more consistently than Stanton does. So
Not just a one-trick pony.
Yeah, so he can provide a lot more value to a team than Stanton. The kind of talk is that they kind of be as a package deal. So whoever is trading for him will have to give up a lot. And for some reason, the Phillies were linked to trading him, which makes no sense because the Phillies are in dead last. So why are you trading at these two people? Doesn't make any sense to me. So, yeah, I'm not really sure on that one.
Maybe their owner's friends with the Browns on there?
Maybe.
Could possibly.
That's possible.
Linked?
They looked for some stupid trade to make to make sure their team stays terrible.
I'm just saying, could be.
Yeah, because the Phillies, like I said, they're bottom of the division. They're no hope of doing anything this year, and
Yikes.
they have a lot of young talent, but it's not living up to it, and you can only go so long before you have to even redo what you're trying to redo. So rebuild on the rebuild. So, yeah, it's gonna be a rough time for them, but yeah, about a week left until the trade deadline. So, and really, baseball is the only one that when the trade deadline comes, there's actually stuff that goes on. It seems like baseball's the only sport.
Yeah.
You tell anyone hey, the NFL trade line's coming up.
Nobody
Who
goes.
cares? 'Cause, nobody gets traded. Same with the NBA deadline. No one really gets traded.
Just a
NHL,
bunch of bench players.
yeah, NHL occasionally you'll get somebody traded, but for the most part, really, baseball is the only one where like there's significant trades done at the trade deadline.
Players start moving around.
Yeah, and usually it's a case where like Yu Darvish with the Rangers, he's on the final year of his contract, so trade him to try to get someone for him instead of just lose him completely in the off season. So yeah, things like that. But yeah, it's the only sport really that they have major trades. Like the NBA, you can get major trades in the off season, but very rarely does
Never
it
during the
ever
season.
come during the season. In
No.
the NFL, there's usually never any trades. There's your trade. It's gonna be basically during the draft for different picks.
Or when
That's-
free agents sign.
Yeah, and
That's
that's
about
about it for the NFL. So, yeah, baseball trade deadline's always exciting because you're always wondering who's who's going to go where. If you're a team that's contending, you want to see who can we add. I mean, like last
Get
year the
over the
Cubs,
hump.
the Cubs added Aroldis Chapman, which was a major piece that they needed, and it worked out to a champion. Then you look at other teams that are kind of low on you're not going anywhere. It's like, all right, who can we possibly get rid of to help rebuild? I mean, like Yankees last year, did an amazing job trading Andrew Miller to the Indians, got a haul for him, traded Aroldis Chapman to the Cubs, got a haul for him, and they went and signed Aroldis Chapman back in the offseason. So they made out like bandits in that deal, and it's really helping out. They have a stacked farm system now, which now they can use as their contended. They can use that to try to get additional prospects. So yeah, if your team isn't doing well, it's like, all right, who can we trade to start building for the future so you can hopefully become a contender soon. So that's always an exciting time. But have your team on that bubble, it's like, oh god, we're kind of close. But I mean, one bad week can just ruin it, and then it's like, oh, do we trade? Do we not trade? Do we stand pat? And yeah, it's kind of in that awkward situation there. So. But yeah, I always look forward to the trade deadline, especially leading up to the very end. I'll have my phone. I'm just looking to see who are we, who's going where, what pieces are being added, and of course I always pay attention to the Cubs and what they're doing and see what they add. And like I said, they still need some pitching help. They, both starting and relieving, and then need a backup catcher, which that one isn't, and you can. There's not much you're going to get for that one. Just any random backup catcher would be fine. You just need someone to be able to fill in every now and then. But yeah, starting pitching, because, I mean, Arrieta is coming to the end of his contract, and everyone, says, oh, he's going to, require this huge contract. He hasn't been pitching that well. It's like he had the great year when he won the Cy Young. Last year, it was okay.
Kind of fizzled out.
And this year, I mean, like, ERA's in the 4s. I mean, he hasn't looked anything like he had that down the year. It's like, why is he going to demand such a high contract when he's basically saying, I want this huge contract out of that 1 year I had 2 years ago.
Derek Carr.
That's what I want. And then everything else since then has been okay, but nothing like, oh my god, he's been outstanding. I mean,
Derek Carr.
yeah, but then again, his agent is Scott Boras, who is notorious for overselling his players.
Sweet.
And he usually gets a pretty big contract. So do the Cubs want to shell out this giant paycheck for him to and if they do, are they getting what they had in a Cy Young year, or are they getting these past 2 years where it really wouldn't justify it? So that's the tricky part about it.
It's a gamble.
Yeah, I mean, if you're getting what he did in a Cy Young year, oh god, you would take that in a heartbeat. But these past 2 years, ugh. Or what are you getting back when he was with Baltimore, when the Cubs traded for him, when he was being sent down to the minors because he wasn't good enough to pitch in the majors. So, I mean, I like Jake Arrieta. I mean, I want him to stay, and I want him to pitch well, but you never know. And Cubs have to plan for his departure by getting, some starters. So, we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, then speaking of trades, actually changing sports, on top of that, Cavaliers are kind of being put in an awkward position.
Ugh.
Kyrie Irving demanding a trade.
So yeah, I heard about this on was it Thursday? I think it was Friday when I was leaving work. Somebody told me, like, "You're the Blockbuster deal." I was like, "No." He's like, "Kyrie wants to be traded." I was like, "What? Why?" Apparently he wants to be on a team where he's the focal point.
Yeah.
That's what I got from the article and the analysts that been following LeBron in Cleveland for years.
Yeah, and which, I mean, I get you kind of wanna be the focal point, and that's something rare you're seeing in the NBA nowadays because you get people like Kevin Durant that wants to go join a stacked team already,
Yeah.
so he can just win an easy
Yep.
championship.
Yep.
So it's kind of weird that you see Kyrie wanting to go someplace to be a main focal point, wanting to be like, see, I want to show you that I can win on my own. I'm tired of being LeBron's backup. So, I mean, I get that, but like I said, he's one of the few people in the NBA that don't want to play with LeBron James.
Yeah, everybody else would probably want to play with him. So
Well, yeah, I mean, so, yeah, he wants to trade, but then you're thinking, okay, who is going to trade for him, and who's going to be able to offer up enough to trade for him? Because he had a handful of teams that he wanted to go to.
Right. I think it was Timberwolves, who's having an amazing offseason. The T-Wolves are.
Mm-hmm.
I think the other three were the Heat,
Spurs.
the Knicks, and the Spurs. Yes.
Yeah, and see, the Knicks, that boggles my mind. Why would you want to go play for that
Yeah, I don't
dysfunctional
know.
franchise?
Is it? I guess the Knicks one would make. The Knicks might have the most to offer. I guess they could maybe do the Melo for Kyrie. Maybe. I don't
Maybe.
know.
I mean, but and really, you have to think from from the Cavaliers' standpoint. You still have control over Kyrie for the next few seasons.
Well, and yeah, and it's like the thing when Kobe demanded to be traded, and he stayed there for another. He finished his career out there, and when he wanted to be traded, they won like 3 more titles in those few years.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like, all right, so the Cavs, okay, we have control over this guy. Yeah, he's not happy, but do we want to keep this unhappy person on the team? Well, I mean, he's still gonna, if he wants a future career in the NBA, he's gonna have to still play hard. So do you want to keep him on the team, just ride his contract out, or do you look for a trade? But then in this trade, you're not gonna give him up for nothing. It's like, to me, for a Kyrie for Carmelo deal straight up makes no sense for the Cavs. They're getting the worst end of that deal. Because, you have, players, really getting into his prime versus one at the tail end. So, the Knicks would have to offer more than just Carmelo. And what else do they have that they could offer?
Nothing.
Exactly. And then you look at other teams they want to be traded to.
Spurs.
Spurs, they're not. I mean, what are they going to give up to? Because they're not going to give up like Aldridge or Leonard or anything like that for him. So who are they going to give up to make that deal worth it? The Miami Heat. Who do they have that they can give up to get him?
Well, I can tell you one thing: we're not going to give up Hassan Whiteside because we just signed him to a big deal not too long ago.
Right, and then you look at them. Are they going to offer like a package of a bunch of role players?
Unless they do it in a 3-team trade, that's the only way I could see it happening.
Yeah, and then obviously you have the Timberwolves, who they have pieces that they could trade,
Oh, yeah.
but why would they?
Yeah.
They have Andrew Wiggins, Jimmy Butler. They just signed him.
Got Karl Anthony Towns.
Carl Anthony Towns, so I mean, they have some pretty good pieces there. And you're not going to give up one of those 3.
I honestly don't see the Timberwolves. I think they're going to ride out with the pieces they have now and see how that team looks.
Yeah, because I think they could be a force to be reckoned with next year. Now, granted, are they going to match up with the Warriors? No,
No.
of course not.
No.
So, yeah, then you just look, okay, if they bring in like a 3-team deal.
If they had Kyrie, they might have a shot.
Yeah, who, you just wonder how they could work this out so the Cavs actually get something worth trading for him for. Now, if Dan Gilbert, he's not one to make stupid deals.
Right.
Maybe he just ships Kyrie to some crap team just out of spite.
To the Brooklyn Nets?
It's like, hey, you want to be a focal point? Here, go to the Nets. Go to the Kings. Go to the
to the
Suns.
Suns?
Good luck. Let me know how that works for you. And he could easily do that.
Oh, gosh. That'd be so mean. But
Hey,
he wants to be the focal
Well,
point,
hell,
I guess.
if you're coming to me demanding a trade,
Yeah.
hey, if you don't want to be here anymore, fine, screw you. I'll send you somewhere. I'll send you somewhere. You're gonna be the focal point. And your team is gonna be a first, lottery pick every year. Let's see how you like it. You could stay here. You'll be content with playing with LeBron, winning the East every year, which is what they're going to do.
Yep.
They're going to win the Eastern Conference. It's just a matter of can they beat the Warriors in the finals. So it's like you can stay here, get to the finals every year, or I'll send you out west. Yeah, go play the Warriors. See if you can get out of the West against the Warriors and the Spurs and the Rockets. Good luck. Not going to happen.
And the Thunder.
And the Thunder, yeah. So
Yeah.
you're not. If Kyrie gets sent to any team outside of those, the Rockets, Spurs, Warriors, and Thunder, any team in the West he gets sent to, no chance at all.
No.
And really, the Spurs, Rockets, and Thunder don't really have that much of a chance anyways against the Warriors.
No, they'll just make the West more competitive in the season wise.
Yeah, and when did the East become such a joke of a conference, by the way? Says a
I
side tangent
honestly
here.
do not know. I don't know.
It's like everyone wants to go out
I
west.
don't know how it happened though. I don't.
Yeah, it's
I'm
like,
trying to think what year did it start to happen.
it's like where did,
I just don't know.
when did the East become such a
I
joke?
don't know.
And yeah, you had the Heat, was a dominant team for those, 4 years.
You had the Pistons the year where Billups and all them were together.
Yeah, and then you had, once LeBron left the Heat, it's been the Cavaliers for these past 3 years, and that's it. Yeah, the Celtics have been a nice story,
Yeah,
but I mean they're not.
not
They've been
powerhouse.
real, they've been real
No.
contenders. So it's like, when did the East become one team?
I don't
And why
know.
does the West have all the good teams? What
I
happened?
really don't know. I wish I knew. I have no idea.
Yeah, so that's kind of weird because a lot of times you hear about East Coast bias where like all the teams on the East Coast are really good and the teams on the West Coast kind of suffer. Like no, in the NBA it's completely the opposite. Everyone on the West Coast is really good. Everyone on the East is
I
terrible.
think I heard from a buddy of mine that the Western Conference owners are starting to complain and they want to that the playoff system's a joke because you have all the teams in the East that are off when you only have 8 teams that can make it in the West.
Well, I mean that makes sense, but I mean yeah, it's like this now. But there's been times where the East has been the stronger one, and the West has had maybe 5, 6 terrible teams that have made the playoffs. So that part is cyclical. It's going to come back around where the East is going to be the good team. So yeah, Western Conference now it's like, oh, we should change it so all of our teams get in. But then okay, well, what happens when it shifts and then all the teams in the East are getting in, and then people owners in the West can be complaining, well, why can't we get? We need to change this system. It's like, yeah, shut up, just keep it as is.
Eat your donuts.
The only thing I agree with as far as the playoffs go on the sides is keeping each conference, but reseeding it. So the teams with the better records get the top seeds and not have to be like no division winners first and that or whatever. That way you can get some better matchups and the teams that should be ranked higher are. So I can understand the reseeding aspect of it, but to do it so 12 teams from the West come out and
That's how they want it to look. That's how
4
the
from the
owners
East.
want it to
No,
look.
I mean, like I said, it's great now for the owners in the West, but then once the East, the power shifts to the East, which eventually it will, then they're going to start complaining about it. And
we don't know when, but some point.
yeah, it's going to happen. I mean, it's not going to. The West isn't going to be that dominant forever. I mean, it always comes back around.
It's lopsided now, though. I think they had off season. They had like the top 12 players in the league or something, and all of them were West except one. LeBron was on the top. The rest was West players. I was like, when did this happen?
Yeah, so yeah, it's kind of weird that everyone went to the West, but
Everybody wants to go to the West. Paul George wants to go. He went to OKC, and
well, he got traded there.
Yeah.
But he wants to go to LA.
he wants to go to LA. That's the West.
Yeah, so yeah, no one. But then you look at the teams in the East, like kind of the historic teams, where you have the Bulls that have outside of Michael Jordan.
They were only good Derrick Rose's MVP season.
Yeah.
It was a 1 year.
And then the Knicks are historically a historic team, but they're so dysfunctional right now with that ownership situation, and nobody wants to play for them.
No.
Because unless you're Kyrie Irving for some reason. Yeah, why would you want to go to a team like the Knicks where they don't know what they're doing? I mean, the Celtics are a historic team, and they got pieces. They could be good. You have the Heat, who have as of late have been better, but and Miami, I think place people would want to go. Florida, you have no income tax. Miami, obviously, a lot of big city there. So yeah, that you think it's like, why do nobody want to go to these teams. Then you look at teams like the Charlotte Bobcats. I get why people don't want to go there.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Then, Toronto is just kind of
Up there.
yeah. Out of sight, out of mind, basically.
Not much.
Yeah. And, you got the 76ers, which have just been this joke of a franchise.
Yeah, I feel bad for I know a few Sixers fans, and
Yeah, that's just sad. That it's gotten to the point where it's like, it's kind of fun. Like, look at Trevor. I was just like, oh man, that's just sad.
because they were so good in the Allen Iverson era.
Yeah,
like every year.
Like, what happened to them? I mean, why can they not? I mean, they've had so many lottery picks. How are they not a
I
decent
blame
team
it on
by
the
now?
owners and GMs.
Owners and GMs,
It's
yeah,
ridiculous.
they just cannot get things turned around
I
there.
don't get it.
And you have the Hawks, where
They were good for a few years, but now they're back to solid rebuild.
yeah.
But again, they're an Eastern team.
Yeah, and like I said, all these Eastern teams just nobody wants to play for. Everyone wants to play for the West
Everybody
Coast.
wants to go west.
Now, obviously, granted, the Warriors were a nothing franchise up until Steph Curry and
Curry.
Klay Thompson. Now, all of a sudden, everybody wants to play for them, and they have all these fans that came out of nowhere.
Yeah. Like when the Seahawks were really good, all their fans came out of nowhere.
Yeah, so I mean,
I know what you
yeah, the
mean.
Warriors were just kind of that afterthought of a team up until just recently. Now, all of a sudden, everyone wants to play for them. Everyone's a fan of them all of a sudden.
Oh, don't worry. The bandwagoners will be weeded out once they can't sign all these players in the contract.
Well, I mean, obviously, eventually that team's going to break up. I mean,
Yep.
yeah, Durant did what he could. He took lesser money to
He
be
took
able to
a pay
sign,
cut.
like Iguodala, not but, Draymond, and then they paid
Curry,
Curry.
200 mil.
So you're going to have Draymond coming up, you're going to have Klay Thompson coming up. They're going to want to be paid.
Yeah,
You
so
know.
will they have the room to pay him, or will they,
Yeah.
is KD going to want a big contract when his number comes up
Yeah,
again?
and even if they find a way to keep that team intact, I mean, there's still going to be there's still going to be a finite time period where they're all going to be that good. So eventually, it's going to come apart, and they're going to have to rebuild at some point. But yes, all those fans came out of nowhere, and
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
so like I said, for me as far as basketball goes, there's really no one team that I consider myself a fan of. I just watch the sport. And obviously, when I grew up, I'd root for the Bulls because Michael Jordan. But I mean, I don't really have a team. I just
I
like I
grew
said,
up with the Heat.
yeah,
Tim Hardaway.
yeah, and if come to playoffs, I kind of like to root for the underdog just because it's
Oh,
easy,
yeah.
and I like to maybe root for storylines. But like right now right now I just kind of find myself rooting for the Cavs because I know they're going to play the Warriors, and I want to see someone beat the Warriors. So.
Yeah, I don't think it'll happen this year. I think they'll unfortunately win the title again.
Yeah, but we know the finals matchup is going to be
Yeah.
the Cavs and Warriors.
Oh,
that's,
yeah.
that's a given.
Unless Stephen Curry tears his knee or something.
Yeah, barring any significant
injury,
injury.
yeah.
But that's going to be the matchup. So, and then we'll see what happens after next year with LeBron. That's going to be the one thing that can maybe shake some things up is what LeBron does after next year.
So, yeah,
There's no guarantee he's going to stay.
yeah, he's being linked to. Because overheard supporting Lonzo Ball at a summer league game and talking highly of him. I'm like, okay, maybe he'll be the next. Maybe I got it figured out. Just what's gonna happen. He's gonna go to You should be scared. He's gonna go to L.A. He's gonna buy out BBB, and he'll be the new owner guy, and then it'll blow up. That's what's gonna happen.
Let's see, LeVar wouldn't have that because he needs to be the center point of everything.
Oh, you're right. It's a good point.
Yeah, he
Okay.
wouldn't. He couldn't take being backseat to anybody. It has to be him. So yeah, that's the only flaw in that in that there.
I thought that up in a second, dude.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. A lot of interesting stuff coming up in the next year or so in basketball. Basically just what is LeBron doing?
Yeah, that's
That's basically it.
pretty much.
Yeah. So, we'll see what happens with the trade deadline in baseball, see what moves are made. Otherwise, like I said, subscribe on YouTube, like us on Facebook, ask questions. Love to answer, leave any sort of comments or anything. Who do you think is going to move? What do you want to see your team do? What do you think of Kyrie? So, love to hear from you guys. Everybody have a good night.